I'm Chris Shriver. Yeah. You've never seen Tron? Wow. It's super cheesy, but it's garbs. Kingdom Hearts 2. Oh. No, it's a sequel. Yeah. That's yes. Yep, that's what it's called.
That was when it came out.
There we go. I just realized. Want you say something?
Hey,
well, that's the biggest draw that I had to Tron was when they came out with the sequel, and that was that really cute. Chick in the trailer, and I was like, oh, hello. Maybe I'll watch this film. And
Who
then
is that?
I'm forgetting
wasn't
her
it
name.
wasn't it Olivia Wilde?
Yes,
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde.
Yep.
And I was like,
that's one of those movies.
Goth Olivia Wilde in like a black bodysuit. Hello.
Go ahead, Josh.
And then I never watched it.
I was gonna say, every time they've ever tried to do Tron 3, like, she's always ready. She's like, I'm here. Like, she's in the meetings, but they just can never seem to get it off the ground. I don't know why.
What do you mean? Olivia Wilde's in those meetings to try to like.
Yeah, like she's said that she would come back.
Yeah.
To do a sequel.
Is she the main character?
A sequel. No.
No. Okay. But she was like a big deal in Tron Legacy. That's one of those movies though that like it came out. I was like in middle school or high school, and I like thought I understood it.
I was in college.
Really?
I believe so.
What year did that come out?
Hold on, I have the Blu-ray.
I almost said, isn't Nash Bridges the main character? But I meant Jeff Bridges.
In the first one, yeah.
2010. Yeah, I was a...
No. Jeff Bridges is the main character. I said Nash Bridges.
Oh,
which is that old show about, I don't even know. Hold on, I gotta look this up.
So this came out 2010.
I can't even find a year on it, but I have the 3D Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy. This thing's beefy.
Yeah.
It's like I could kill a man with this thing.
There was a while, all the Disney Blu-rays that they put out, they were like the thickest cases that you could find. The Pinocchio one, I remember it's like, it's only 2 discs, but it's like real hefty.
I have that and the Tangled 3D Blu-ray thing, and it's also like super heavy.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 discs in it.
But that was one of those movies when it came out, I was like, I understand this. This is so cool. And then I watched it as an adult, and I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, no, I totally did not understand what this movie was actually about.
Yeah.
And get it way more now.
Yeah.
Nash Bridges starring Don Johnson.
Nash Bridges.
To our lovely viewers, I am going to have to... I'm on call for work. I have to make a call. I'm going to put myself on mute. I guess I could hide my video too while I'm doing that. Yeah.
If you wanted.
I'm gonna do that. So
okay.
You guys do the thing. Harry's in chat.
What up, Harry?
He was in PAX. He was at PAX all weekend. But
in PAX?
He was in PAX.
He was there.
Inside of PAX.
Yeah. But I'll be right back.
Technically, yeah.
He was inside of excellent Kevin Spacey vehicle K-Pax.
Is that the movie where he ate the banana without peeling it?
Yeah, because he was an alien.
Okay. That's all I remember about that movie.
He was an alien that's really good at math. I don't know.
But not really good at eating bananas.
But not good at eating bananas. Write it down. Yeah, so what have you been up to, my dude?
Oh my goodness. I'm honestly, I've been up to a lot of my usual stuff. Like I have been playing a lot of the new content that came out in the Final Fantasy 14 patch, which has been like really good.
Yep.
And then yeah, the new raid is phenomenal. It's very good. Um, and then I have been playing a lot of League, also League of Legends.
Oh yeah.
Another friend of mine who actually you met this weekend, Lane, we've been playing like a ton. We have gotten like super into like character builds, and I was practicing jungler, and we've been looking up like tier lists for characters and like practicing and stuff. Um, we don't have ranked unlocked yet, but we've been getting pretty good. We looked and we both have a higher win rate when we're on a team together and stuff, which is pretty
Oh,
fun.
interesting. That's cool.
So we've been getting really into League. But randomly the thing that I've been booting up for the past like 2 or 3 weeks, which I brought up briefly, I think on maybe 2 episodes ago, is Team Fortress 2. Like I've been consistently playing Team Fortress 2, this like 15-year-old game.
Hard to
Um,
imagine people are still playing it, but they
there
are.
are people are still playing it. Um, here's the thing though, is like Team Fortress 2 is still like really good. Um, I had thought like I had this thought in my head where you know, it's like we've had Overwatch for so long that you tend to think like, why would I play this when Overwatch exists? Because it's the new, the newer
Yeah.
version, right? But as someone who's still sort of on their Blizzard thing, um, I just don't want to play over. Even though Overwatch 2, the beta, I think comes out like today or tomorrow. Um, I'm like still kind of waiting for Bobby to be gone before I dip back into that. So I'm like, what's the next closest thing I can get? Well, it's Team Fortress 2. But I
Hmm.
dipped back in there and I remembered why I had been so obsessed with it in college for like 2 or 3 years, because it's just really good, and it has this like flavor that Valve only made like this one time. Like
Hmm.
maybe the closest they ever got to doing this again was Portal, you know. But even Portal, which is based in the Half-Life universe, has sort of, I don't know how to describe it. Like it has more of a groundedness, even though it is still technically like funny and not taking itself too seriously.
There's not any
TF2 is
aliens
just
or anything like that. It's just AI.
no.
Yeah.
TF2 is just like super silly and dumb and just trying to be like very tongue in cheek all the time. And it has this aesthetic that no other Valve game has. It has this like vibe that no other Valve game has. Um, the economy, which I thought must have been tanked to at this point, is still fairly okay. It gets regular cosmetic updates and stuff still. It has some stuff going on. So I've been playing it a bit and just kind of dipping back into it. But along with the things that are really good about TF2 that I think still survive to this day and still feel really good and fun to play, there are some interesting things that I've noticed that are kind of bad and actually weirdly make me a little more worried about the Steam Deck, but I'll get there. And I think some of that is the tendency that Valve seems to have to just kind of like abandon stuff that they make. Um, and here's an example. So in Team Fortress 2 in 2020, you might remember this news story, but there was a news story about a bunch of bots basically making free to play accounts and then swarming servers, and just like putting tons of like transphobic stuff in chat. Like they would just swarm chat with all this stuff. Um, so Valve had taken measures to like mitigate that. They said like, oh, free to play players can't speak in the in-game chat. They have to spend money first to be like able to do that. And it's like, okay, that did that, and then they did something else to try and mitigate like bots mass joining games, which worked for a while, and this was back in 2020. But back in I think late 2020, early 2021, the problem cropped up again, not with like transphobia, but with basically these bots that cheat. Like they just, the minute they see you, you're dead. Like they just headshot you and you're gone. So the it's apparently been an issue since then. It's not been fixed. It's 2022. Like we're a fourth into or a third into 2022, and this problem has been happening since 2020, and it's still a problem. Like if you try to play on weekdays, if you're not playing on a community server, which are servers just run by players, like trying to get a full game is almost impossible because it's all bots that either like just kill you immediately, and then if you try to vote kick them, like they all gang up on you and vote kick you instead. Like, so the official casual servers are like almost impossible to play on if you're not playing, uh, like Friday nights or the weekend or something, like peak hours. If you're trying to play like in the middle of the day or on a weekday or something, it is like impossible.
So
You
what's the
basically,
point of that?
so what's the point of the bots playing, or what's the
Yeah.
point of, so because TF2 drops items that can be eventually worth money, people make bots to like try
They're
and
farming it. Yeah.
farm items. But I think the real issue though is that like it just means that like if you want to play on those servers, like on Valve's official servers, it's kind of difficult. Like on certain days, like you basically have to play competitive, or you have to go on to a community server, which will still give you items because every so many items per week. So go play on community servers and that's fine, but there are things you get for playing on Valve servers that you don't get for playing on community servers. And an example is there's these like contract missions that will net you like paint schemes for your guns or hats and other things, and you can't do those missions on community servers. They're not tracked. So you can only do them on Valve servers, which means basically that if you want to do them, you either have to like just really fight to try and get in a server that doesn't have bots, either casually or competitively, or you just have to say, guess I won't do this, right? And it's so bad that I saw a Reddit post that said something like day 956 with no fix to bots or something like that, which I think tracks because this has been going on since 2020. And it's really unfortunate, but the good thing is that if you just play on community servers, if you don't care about any of that, like you just want to play the game, like you can do that and avoid the bots really easily. The main problem is though that like you're locking yourself out of a fair amount of stuff that is what I think enjoyable, because I think getting items is one of the things that makes the game like really unique and fun. But it's hard to really like it's hard to do that when you can only do community servers. Like you will get some items, but you're not going to get like all the stuff. Like when you buy passes to do stuff, you're not going to get those. So it makes it a little harder to like enjoy the experience. And it's just really unfortunate that like Valve seems to have kind of just abandoned this game. And I get it, like this game's really old. So like I'm not expecting new content or anything, but like at the same time it should run correctly and not be sort of a hellscape for bots to run rampant. Which suddenly got me thinking about all the other Valve games that like sort of get abandoned, like Left 4 Dead. That series got just straight up abandoned. Portal.
Their upcoming game abandoned, which I mean, probably gonna get abandoned.
Do they have a game coming up?
No, the Blue Box game.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's Chris.
I mean, it's kind of, unfortunately, it's kind of par for the course in terms of, like, this is a company that I'm trying to not say my words carefully, but articulate in a way that it actually makes sense. It's a company that prides itself now, I think, in community and open source development, and they're very good at creating a foundation for great products, right? So they release something that, and keep in mind, Josh and I were talking about it before we hopped on. Valve is a company of about 300 employees. That's including like legal, sales, like It's not just 300 developers like cranking stuff out. They have a
that's all the people managing the storefront, which is incredibly huge.
Yep.
And all of their games and like their HR
and now like physical hardware distribution with Steam Deck. I mean, which they had before with, the Index and Steam Link and Steam Controller and things like that. But it's a much different.
It's a lot more involved.
It's a lot more involved, and there's a lot more product that they're pushing there. But the point I'm trying to make is they are still a small lateral company, in terms of even, the way that you want to move. For those who don't know, Valve is a company where if you want to work on something, you get enough people to rally around it, they will basically say, all right, if you get a team going, then get those resources going, pitch an idea, and if the people, Gabe or whoever else likes it, then they will continue development on that product. Right now, their primary focus being Steam Deck. It kind of begs it necessitates having long-term products in the long term that are supported by community members. That's why you're getting things like Black Mesa is by the Crowbar Initiative. Like, that's just a group of fans that like the original Half-Life that made this thing. It's why you have community servers running Team Fortress 2, and nobody's fixing it, because for them it's like this game, they give that game away for free. Like, there's no revenue to be made. For them to fix that.
You say that, but
cuts of items
they do make money on it. That's the thing. Like, part of what I loved about Valve when I first started playing Dota and TF2 was that community aspect of it, because it meant that people who just loved Dota and loved TF2 were making items for the game, then they were getting paid to do it, and it meant that you just got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of neat because you were supporting the people who were making really cool stuff, but it becomes a little harder when they say, okay, we'll let the community handle it, but the thing that needs fixing is not something the community can fix.
Oh no, and that's I
mean?
That's the primary issue, is that they're sure, this main crux of whether it's what our revenue is going to create revenue for us, or is something that we're going to internally manage, that's just going to sit there. But if there's a major, at least in Team Fortress 2's case, that if anything were to happen to that, at least players still have this. And I think because they have that thing to fall back on, that's really all they care about.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not a good excuse, but it's I don't know. Outside of outsourcing, having and they may, subcontract some company to do this. I don't know, but it seems like, just given the state of a lot of their games, they don't. They seem to be a very internally driven, it happens at the mothership and that's about it, unless a community of developers get the blessing from Gabe. They don't tend to let anybody else into that sandbox. And I mean, that's the drawback of it, is that these problems do come up, and there's not a whole lot you can do. I mean, I think part of it, you figure when that problem started happening, how many people were, it was 2020 is when that started happening? How many
2020,
How many people were still into Overwatch at that point? That's before the whole...
That's a good point, yeah.
The whole Blizzard thing and, sexual harassment lawsuits and all that. They were probably looking at TF2 as it's an important game to our history, but it's probably, especially now, it's probably so far down their list of priorities that
probably, I mean, which is funny because it's still in the top 10 most played games on Steam, which is what I find interesting. There's still people playing it regularly. And it has to be making them money if all those people are playing it regularly and buying keys. The economy is still thriving to some extent. So that means that people are buying paint schemes and things for all that. It's odd because then I think about like all the other things that Valve has released over the last, like, I say couple years, but like maybe it's like the last 5 years. We have the Steam Link, which, let's be honest, failed miserably. Like they were selling them for $1
It was not
when they
good.
were clearing the warehouses of those things. Like they're not, and it wasn't that good of a product. Like it didn't work well.
It got better with like, and that's what's funny about all their hardware releases is like if you use them now, I mean, granted, the Steam controller, that's subjective, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't like it.
Most people don't like it.
I've never even touched one, but I've seen them.
But they've never stopped like development on them, which is so weird to me. Like if you plug in a Steam controller right now, I would bet money that there's an update available.
Hey, there's an update for it.
It's so weird.
There's probably some dude at Valve that's just like very passionate about the Steam controller and like keeps it all updated. All the drivers are ready to go. You know?
There's like a subreddit of like 20 people that they're like, you know, actually, and then he's like, okay,
which is great. I think that's great.
Mine's right there.
I'm trying to think of what else they've like. We also have Artifact.
It might be in the
Artifact was a humongous blunder.
Yeah.
For like, that was their first new game in what, like half a decade, and
we had an appointment at PAX to see it. I got to see that. Actually, my mouse pad is Artifact.
I played it extensively in the beta and was like, I don't think this is a good game. And I didn't like the way.
It had promise, but it had like a couple of core problems, I think.
Yeah, like the idea of you own your cards, I think is great because most digital card games don't do that. I think the only other one that does is like Magic the Gathering Online, which is a game from like 2002. So hardly anyone's playing that anymore. But I think that idea is cool, but you also need to give people who just play the game for free something to do. But then on top of that, like, it was really complicated to play. And it's like they started sort of redoing things and like pushing it in a direction, and then they sort of just were like, you know what, never mind. And then just kind of abandoned it, right?
Yeah.
We have all those internal stories about like people starting up Half-Life 3 and then abandoning it. There was some conjecture about a Left 4 Dead 3 for a while. That got abandoned, I believe, like at some point. So it just made me wonder, like, at what, because seeing a lot of the videos about the Steam Deck, like people have a lot of positive things to say about it, but then there's all these things where like, oh, someone got this thing like working correctly, or Windows sucks on it, or like this thing doesn't really work great, or like if you were it's a portable device and they're like, it lasts maybe 2 to 3 hours like outside of your home, right? And it's like,
how necessary is that?
How long is this thing gonna last? Like how long will Valve actually be interested in like this thing, and before they go off to the next thing and keep making Counter-Strike stuff because it's their most played game on the platform? Or maybe they just, I don't know. It's like I want them to make I want them to make games again, but I also want them to like maybe just commit to something, because they seem unable to commit. What I'm saying is I want like Team Fortress 3, or I want some big like overhaul of TF2. It's on some level, but I also like want Portal 3, and I want the Half-Life fans to get what they want. I'm not a huge Half-Life person, but I want them to get what they want just because it's been so long.
I mean,
I would love a Left 4 Dead 3, because I don't feel like Back 4 Blood quite did it.
Yeah.
It was like almost, but not quite.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird company.
It seems like we want Valve to be like at least I'm of this mindset at this point. I want Valve to be a major player, like a Sony or a Microsoft or Nintendo.
They have the biggest number of players already. So.
But
they have essentially like infinite resources.
Well, no, but that's just it. They don't. They have infinite resources financially.
Financially is what I mean.
And from an infrastructure standpoint, but from a human resource perspective, they do not. And I think it's because
check on the market caps.
It takes a certain mind to fit in there. And Like, I think there's a very specific type of person that they look for to work at that company. And it's very selective. I wonder how much of, like, I don't know how long that can last, though, especially, like, we're trying to compare them to, like, distributing software and hardware, like, at a Microsoft scale or, like, an Apple scale. And if they're talking about multiple SKUs of this product, like, the support alone, just taking that in and, you know, dealing with hardware and things like that, like, and there's a lot of this I don't know. Like, I don't know. They could subcontract all this kind of stuff, but I want them to be more than they are because of everything you said. Like, they make such incredible products, and, you know, obviously the PC gaming community, like, puts them at this pedestal, and rightfully so. It just seems like Gabe Newell is in a position now where he's of two mindsets, where he doesn't care too much about, I mean, at the end of the day, he cares about solving interesting problems, is what he says time and time again. But it's pushing out the Steam Deck and human brain interfaces is, like, they're the two hot topics that he constantly hits on in every interview that he goes on. I don't think we'll see a Half-Life 3 until that happens.
I, at this point, don't think we'll ever see it.
Interesting. So here's a couple of facts. So I looked up net worth because I was just like, come on, Steam's got to be up there, right? According to 4 sources, Xbox's net worth $600 billion.
Mm-hmm.
No surprise, it's huge. Nintendo net worth $85 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. PlayStation $45 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Valve $12 billion.
Look up Gabe Newell's net worth.
Yeah.
How much of that is him?
He's one of the richest people on the planet, and, like, people don't talk about that.
Yeah.
3.8 billion.
For some reason, I thought it was like 6. Still, it's a lot.
Still
of money.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
For a guy that lives at that office, basically.
Maybe it's just, like, I don't know if, like, people younger than us necessarily care, but, like, back when I was just getting into college and, like, Steam was relatively new,
Mm-hmm.
Valve just felt like this gaming company that was doing literally what no one else was doing. They had this just really interesting, like, vibe, and, like, the way that Steam worked with, like, trading items with other players, and it had, like, its own built-in voice chat. It had, like, official servers, community servers. They were still releasing games regularly. Then they had, like, Steam Workshop, which, I mean, they still have, right? But just the idea that, like, just the idea that you don't have to leave the client to see, like, popular mods. Like, if you were someone that was playing Left 4 Dead 2 every week or whatever, you could go in the workshop and it's like someone has made you a whole campaign to play, essentially.
And that still
right?
happens. Like, Half-Life Alyx.
That does still happen.
You know, like, Half-Life Alyx has, I think, 2 BioShock mods at this point, where you can go around Rapture, like, in that engine, which is pretty crazy. But
that's kind of cool.
Steam is still on the bleeding edge as far as mods are concerned. But to Josh's point, like, they were a really unique place to play. They were doing a lot of things that nobody else was doing. But since then, the industry has largely caught up.
Well, and that's a very...
And they're not really pushing anything forward anymore.
Yeah, and that's a really important point, is that there aren't that many problems left to solve. Like, that's, at least that I can think of, and it's going to take somebody with a very forward-thinking mind, or a group of people with very forward-thinking minds over the next, 2 decades, to go into that company and really, or I mean any of these companies, and really, really shake things up. Because right now, what are the limitations? It's bandwidth. It's
battery life on portable devices.
Yeah, it's hardware. It's the limitations of hardware. It's not even so much I mean, you could say it like in terms of development, and what goes into actually making a game, like how the cost of it, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part,
But Unreal's working on that.
yeah, well,
know.
exactly. Like Epic has all that figured out. But it's not like, oh my God, like remember when, who's the guy in Half-Life? The Mr. Freeman. I can't even think of his name right now.
Gordon Freeman.
The G-Man.
The G-Man. Like,
Oh,
when you saw G-Man for the first time in Half-Life 2, and like he looked like a real person, and it's like, oh my God, his skin looks real. He can blink. He can make eye contact with you.
now you're like,
And now it's like every, how many games do that come out a month? Like there just aren't that many like super interesting, like easy wins, I guess I should say. There aren't that many easy wins left. Now it is like, I think that's why they went the VR route when they did, because it was a space that not many people were exploring, and it didn't take off, I think, the way that they had hoped. But they are a company that is going to continue to try and find weird things like that.
yeah. I mean I would say that's maybe why. I think they've exacerbated the problem that I think we have, though, is that they seem to only be, at least just based on what they've been doing, it seems like they're only hiring technology people. Like they've essentially pivoted to a technology company.
Absolutely.
Not really like a game studio anymore. Which
yeah.
I could be totally wrong about that, but based on the amount of games they release, doesn't seem to be that way.
No,
right?
I don't think that's wrong at all. Think about when
we talked about this before when they got Campo Santo, and it's like in the Valley of the Gods just vanished off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they pulled them over to help with Half-Life Alyx, which like they could be super happy with, but like, and of course I'm sure this has happened a ton of times when teams have been acquired and like they just hadn't made what they were working on public, and that still disappeared and people just didn't know about it. But now it's a concrete example of that. Kind of sucks. I was looking forward to this, you know what I mean? And how many things have they put out? And obviously this is not a purely Valve issue, because we can look at Google, we can look at Stadia, we can look at what Jade Raymond and their team were working on over there, and all these sorts of things, or like Facebook, and all these sorts of things.
Those
this is
comparisons
just a big
are endless.
company thing. But yeah, Chris, you were saying something.
I mean, if you think about going back to what Josh was saying about them being a software company before, beyond just solving the interesting problems of like development in 3D and pushing graphics forward and things like that, like part of the development of Half-Life was just for Gabe to see if he could write a game on Windows 3, like just to see if he could do it. And then that game came out. It was after Doom.
And everybody was like, "What?"
Yeah, and it like blew a lot of people's minds because it also like controlled unlike anything they'd ever seen, and these polygonal graphics and all that.
And like that was, if I'm not
it would have been
wrong, like that was an early. Oh, there's physics in this game. Oh, there's like a higher degree of immersion in this game than there is in a lot of other things.
Yeah, like we're running out of those types of things. So like.
Yeah.
Because of that, and because everyone's kind of learned from what they've done, improved upon it, and it's we've talked about it too, where you look at Half-Life.
Valve kind of got power crept.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they set the stage, or they set the bar for these things, and then people come in and do it better, which is fine, but they are revolutionary at the time. I still think it's
on their laurels, though. Yeah,
I still think it's hilarious that no one's like just copied Portal at this point. Like, I mean, I'm sure some games have that mechanic, but like not to the extent that game does.
What's that? Splitgate.
Yeah, Splitgate. Splitgate's probably the main one.
Very cool game. Also, if you haven't played it,
it is a cool game. I like it a lot. But yeah, I think because of all of that, they're like, all right, what else can we do? What else can we figure out? Because that no one else is doing. And I mean, rightfully so, right? Like, how many of us have been beating the drum of, I want a Switch Pro, and Nintendo is just kind of like, like doing whatever they want. So they're solving that problem, but at the same time, it's like, are they? There's a video on. Sorry if I'm getting too rambly.
If the only thing, just quick question as an aside.
Yeah.
Just because of what you just said. If the only change you made to the Steam Deck was that the battery lasted 9 hours instead of 2 to 3, would that solve most of the problems?
No.
Okay.
So Bob Wolf does, which I meant to send it to you, Brian. Wolf Den, if you know who that is on YouTube, has a video out where he just
there's only room in my heart for one wolf, and we all know who that is.
But he got his Steam Deck, and he's a big emulation guy. Does a lot of videos on those like Chinese handhelds that come out and things like that. Mm-hmm. But he talks about his experience with using the Steam Deck and how so much of it is like, this is great, but there's always like a caveat or an asterisk that comes with that experience. And like, as he was talking about it, all I kept thinking about was you, Brian, using it. And like, I do have this fear that you're going to get this thing and you're going to like, yeah, like I thought it was going to be like this, amazing thing. I bring my Steam library everywhere, but I can only play 50% of the games. And the ones that I do run, I can only play for 2 hours, or, insert caveat here. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I love the fact that they're pushing Linux on people. I think it's important, but I do wonder how many people are like going to be okay with it. Cause like, sure, I'll look up whatever I need to and for whatever terminal commands I have to do, or, run wine on it or whatever. But like, most people don't know what any of that is.
Yeah.
It's like, do they want to do
is this the machine for the common man, or is this the machine or the tech enthusiast that doesn't mind diving deep?
Yeah, for the tinkerer. Like for me, I think it's going to be a great, like, continuous hobby project, and if they support it, it's going to cool to see it evolve over its life cycle. But I do wonder for like just the normal average consumer that's like, I just want to fucking play games on this thing. They're going to get really upset because they constantly have to do something to it to get it to work the way they want it to.
Yeah,
that's definitely me. I'm just like, I just want to play games.
Yeah,
it's like what I do when I boot up Steam.
Just because a game is on Steam doesn't mean it's going to actually run well on Steam Deck.
Yeah.
But that, I guess that's part of the thing that I think that would make that okay for me is that like that's kind of part of the price of having such extensive backwards compatibility. If that makes sense.
Kind of.
When you have literally dozens of years of, games available on this platform, a lot of which have been kept going into the future, although not all of them work on modern, stuff. But like, I don't know.
It's it's weird.
I can't really speak to it unless I have one in my hands.
Yeah, I mean, the three of us aren't going to know until we have some time with it. But
and luckily, if that is the case, and I'm just like, God, this was such a waste of money, I can probably sell it for the same amount that I bought it for or more.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like for you, for your heart, for my love of you as a human being, like. Aww.
Thanks, man.
I want you to get this thing in your hands and to fall in love with it. And like, I just
me too, man.
I just have this huge fear that you're gonna get it and be like, oh, like it was so close. And
this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, stay tuned to this bat channel.
I just looked up the that calculator again this morning.
Yeah.
Apparently mine isn't shipped till June.
Oh, you guys didn't get a ship notification or whatever?
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, I haven't looked today.
That's why I was telling you. I was like, yeah, dude, if you're thinking you don't want it, I'll take it. But yeah.
Did you end up doing it, Josh, or no?
I ordered it, but it is getting sold like immediately.
Oh, okay.
It's going in the Japan fund.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get mine yet.
The only notification I have from Steam is that Resident Evil Village from your Steam wish list is now on sale.
Oh man.
Which I'm not gonna get because I haven't even played number 2 yet.
What a strange company.
But
Anyway.
April to June.
That's really all I had to say about that. TF2 is still fun. I
TF2 is
just
great.
wish it wasn't.
cool. I've never played TF2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think when did it come out? Did it come out around the same
Like
time as
2008
Counter-Strike,
or something like that.
I mean, Orange Box was 2007, so I think it was
Oh, then
around that
before
time.
that. Fun fact: if you play
I'm just thinking
Orange
if
Box on the Xbox 360, which has Team Fortress 2, you can play like because they literally never patched it once, so you can play like an incredibly old version of Team Fortress 2.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In that,
This is
but
why
yeah,
I like having discs
2007.
and stuff. Okay, because I was just thinking like if it came out around the same time as Quake 3 or Unreal Tournament or Counter-Strike, then like those would have been the games that I was playing, which is
Nah,
why I didn't
it
play
was-
TF2 because
It was after all those.
okay, because that was the
Yeah.
time when I was playing like with my friends
Yeah.
in Singapore. And then once I came back, I don't think I was really getting into like multiplayer games online except for World of Warcraft, but I don't know if that was out by that time.
Mm.
Did that
World
come
of
out, like,
Warcraft came out in
2005?
2004. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Counter-Strike had
Yeah,
a...
so by then I was playing World of Warcraft, which was the only game I was playing.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't play TF2.
Yeah.
Because I was playing with my buddy from Blizzard. He was like, "Yo, play with me.
Yo, dog,
Yo, dog.
Behold."
come check out this cool thing called Wrath of the Lich King. It's
Catch the
I
awesome.
mean, back then it was vanilla, so it was like, check out this new thing that they're doing. It's called Zul'Gurub.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I remember
okay,
that. Like tight, dude.
check out this thing. It's called Encourage.
I wasn't around for that.
Entourage.
I mean, I was, but I didn't know about it. I played by myself because I was a loner.
Scarab Lord Colonix on my server.
Mm.
He was a
You think-
troll warrior who
You
was
think that guy's still around?
who was a what was it, a grand warlord? I forget what the warlord might have been warlord. The highest PvP rank.
Yeah.
He had a giant axe, and he was the first person to open the gates of Encourage on my server.
Wow.
You think
Which
he's still
was,
playing?
I have no idea. I left that server. That was like 4 or 5 servers ago.
Wow.
So
I always wonder if a lot of those people are still around.
yeah,
I bet some of them are not.
I'm actually friends with some of them on Facebook, so I could ask them.
Yeah.
Some of my OG crew.
They're like, nah, dude. I don't play that.
There was an undead priest that was a friend of mine. There was an orc warrior named what is it? Tichondrius was the demon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So his name was Trichondus, the orc warrior. Yeah, man, good freaking times. Good freaking times.
I've got no context for anything. Wow.
Making friends online. I was in college, meeting ladies who played the game, flirting online, staying up late at night, talking about things, life, you know.
Life and Tichondrius.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. World of
Yeah.
Warcraft, no matter how far it may fall, it'll always hold a special place in my heart.
But yeah, to some degree.
The only MMO I ever loved.
It's one of those games that I just don't think I could really go back to now. Just
Even apart
don't
from the
know.
Blizzard stuff.
yeah, just
Life has
I don't
moved
know.
on. Josh
It's
has moved
so-
on.
yeah, it's so different. And now that I'm like so invested in 14 and what that is, I'm just
Yeah.
like, I would rather do this, like this.
Yeah.
And also, I have actual friends who play the game, so it's like, I'm not gonna go really back to WoW. I'm gonna stay here, and we're gonna do all this stuff and hang out in this Final Fantasy playground and all that. So,
Also, I was thinking about like how much we talk about how much we love short games and stuff like that, and I was just like, man, can I go back to a like forever game, like ever? And I don't know. There's part of me that likes the idea of having that sort of a thing, but also Dragon Ball and Guilty Gear have kind of become that for me. Like those are kind of my
they
MMOs.
kind of are your
Yeah.
forever games.
So
I feel like Halo
But
is
also
that for
it's-
me. like in any flavor.
I've been
Oh, yeah.
playing Halo Infinite as well. Like the Fracture event is back, so we played a couple of hours at night, and that's been fun. The game still rips.
Yeah.
It's really good. I'm excited for season 2. Audrey maxed out her season pass.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm level
That's
like
a
65.
lot of Halo.
She hit
That's a lot
level
of Halo.
100 like a couple of days ago.
That's impressive.
I was like,
I don't even know where I left off. It was probably
she
in
got
like
the flaming
20s or something.
helmet and everything.
Holy
Like
cow.
she's a big shot.
Good for her.
Big
Also,
shot.
I came upstairs from playing Elden Ring with Will, and she just like kind of yelled over her shoulder. She's like, "There should be an achievement for killing an entire team in one life." I was like, "Damn, you killed the entire enemy team."
They did that kind of shit back on the 360 with Halo 3, and it was fucking infuriating. So
Yeah.
no, I don't want that.
Yeah. But Audrey doesn't care about 100%ing, so that sort of a thing would just be a bonus.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know what you got to talk about, Chris, but I did beat Variable Barricade, so I can talk about that whenever we're ready for that.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. Hey, people. You like dating sims? Good, I got one for you.
You like The Bachelor?
You like The Bachelor? You like For the Bachelors?
Have you ever wanted to be the Bachelorette, but in an anime, and read a lot?
Yeah, you ever wanted to be one?
Have you ever? Are you parched? Are you thirsty?
Are you a thirsty boy
Are
like
you a
me?
thirsty
Or
boy?
a thirsty girl?
Well, guess what? Have we got the title for you?
Have we got the game for you? So I talked about this last week on the show. I think it was last week. Yeah, it was last week. And I said that I would have beaten it by this week. Surprise! I was right. I did beat it, and I've gotten 2 endings. So I went back and replayed it, and I'm on my 3rd playthrough now.
Okay.
So basically, you play through the game until a certain point, and then your grandfather, who's been kind of helping you through this, is like, "All right, it's time to pick. Which one of these guys do you like?" And each time you replay, you can skip the whole intro and like first section, the first act of the game, basically, and just get to the day where you make that choice, which makes it really easy to go back and do replays.
Right.
And just be like, all right, I'm just going to do like the last half of the game or something like that, or the last, 2/3, whatever. So it's interesting. So I did Ichia's story first, which I was like partway through the last time we recorded. So I beat his game, his like romance story. And it's interesting. It had a lot of like good stuff in it. The writing was pretty good. It did some stuff that made me pretty uncomfortable. But I think that might be part of it. Like
In
they
what way? Or can you not say without spoiling it?
Like
Uncomfortable sexually or uncomfortable?
like
Yeah.
threats of self-harm and stuff.
Okay. All right.
That sort of thing. No, it's not Doki Doki Literature Club.
Okay.
But like oh, like if you don't accept me, like, I might do something drastic, something like this.
Yeah, no. it's
And
not
I was
great.
just like, I don't like that.
I don't need that in my pudding pop.
Then I played Taiga's story, which is my canon ending. After playing it, I'm like, dude, this story was great. That's my favorite one. The dude with pink hair and a bunch of ear piercings, and he's super casual and stuff. That's my head canon ending. And then I started playing through like the kind of really the blonde guy, like the guy who's French and stuff like that. And it's not really vibing with me, and I think I actually may stop playing. Because like I'm not getting anything out of his story, and there's 2 different sections. Like let's just say Act 1 is like starting out the story and getting to the point where you're making the choice. Then there's like Act 2, which is pursuing one person, and then at the end there's like some twist or some act break or something, and then Act 3 is like from you've become kind of boyfriend and girlfriend to we're making commitments and this is going to be the person I want to be with through all the like twists and turns and things like this. So I'm like on the last step of Act 2 with this guy, and I'm just like, I don't know that I care to see anything more about this. So I think I might be done with it. But I've beaten the first 2 out of I think I've gotten 2 out of the 5 endings or something like that. But I've had a really good time with it. One thing, and this might just be something that happens. I have noticed that this is something that sticks out to me a lot, whether I'm watching Demon Slayer or other things like this. A lot of times I get really annoyed with protagonists that are super indecisive or like shoot themselves in the foot constantly. And that does happen in this.
I thought you were going to say explains the obvious and what they're thinking. Like, does it do a lot of that? It's like, oh, well, if I do that, I'm gonna get stabbed. I can't do that, and like,
no, not really. But there is a lot of
uses Kamehameha blast.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like the opposite of that, which is like, I'm going to this person's room to tell them how I feel. They say something and ask me to do something, and then even though me telling them what I came here to tell them would probably fix things, I'm gonna get shy and run away.
Oh,
and I'm just like, ugh. Like, just say it. You know what I mean? But, like, it's a very long game. Like, let me look up how long to beat again.
How many hours do you have in this? Do you know?
Well, let me see.
I didn't know if you had your Switch.
Gotta have a good chunk.
You've been
2 or 3 weeks in.
Been at it for a while.
Yeah, hold on. Let me actually save it, because does your Switch stuff update until you back out?
No, I think it's real time.
Okay, so if I just go up to
Maybe.
my profile, Variable Barricade played for 25 hours or more.
Wow, that's a lot.
It feels like a lot more than that. But yeah, it feels like more than that, just because I've been playing it for like a week and a half, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. I like it. It was a nice palate cleanser after Elden Ring, which I guess I can't really say after Elden Ring because I'm still playing Elden Ring on PC.
Still playing it.
One does not simply stop playing Elden Ring.
It's true. Although this time I'm doing 100%, and I've already seen a few things that I'd never seen before, which is really cool.
Nice.
I found like 4 or 5, maybe more areas in like the first 2 areas of Elden Ring that I'd like never seen before. But anyway, Variable Barricade. It's been good. I like it. I think the voice acting's really great. Which is very important. It's also like exclusively or almost exclusively voice acted. Like other than internal monologue, everything is voiced and it's all good. And I love the art. The opening theme is a bop. Like, I love it. Like
a bop.
Chris, I don't know if you can pull up like what the opening.
A banger, you'd say.
Actually, I can do
it.
I'll look it up. Not the theme, but if you actually look up the opening cinematic of this game, like the art, I love it. Whoever designed this trailer needs a raise. I don't care how much they're paid.
Socks are the number one
I like
most
it.
requested
Socks are the
item.
number one most requested thing in
Underwear
homeless
is number
shelters.
2.
Underwear is number 2. Okay. All right, I'm going to
I
get
have
rid of
heard
the
that.
overlay. It is playing right now.
Just like, dang, this looks like so slick. You know what I mean?
It reminds me a lot of Persona 4. Or like that
Yeah,
kind
kind
of.
of.
Yeah, like that kind of vibe. I feel like Jess
Yeah,
would play
so-
this.
I'd have to edit this into the audio, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But the song is so good.
No, it's a good
like-
good song for sure. It's a good like intro, anime, Japanese.
But yeah.
Anime
baloney.
intro.
Anime baloney.
Yeah, it's a great anime intro. We've been Audrey and I've been walking around singing this to each other because
like,
there's just like there's a little stinger that is in English.
You know what one still like to this day either one of us can just start singing it. It's just like, man, what a
Gonna take for a ride.
no. But dude, I was playing that this
my
morning
God.
on this. That's so funny that you brought that up. I was literally playing that this morning.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say Sword Art Online. That
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's such a good song.
Wouldn't know.
For me, it's like classic Full Metal Alchemist intros.
I'd never watched that.
I think it's Rewrite by the Asian Kung Fu Generation. Great song. Look that up. Super, super good.
Good deal.
Very poignant. But yeah, I said most of what I think about Variable Barricade last week, but I like it a lot. I've had a lot of fun with it. So
Nice.
that wraps
Right.
my time on it, which means I'm going to be moving on to reviewing some other stuff.
Tight.
Good deal.
So
Yeah.
what you got, Chris?
I made a little bit of progress in Hollow Knight this week. I'm trying to remember the last enemy I fought. I got out of the Crystal Caverns.
Last time we talked, the last person you'd beaten was like the floating sorcerer.
Yeah, so I did him, and then the next level I think is like that Crystal Cavern thing, and you get the dash ability where you can like fly super far. So I got that. That's basically where I'm at. I didn't get to play all that much.
Now you're free. You're Neoing your way around the Matrix.
Yeah, pretty much. I like that doesn't take up your soul, meter either. I was afraid it did when I first got it. I haven't got
classic Super Metroid hyper jump or whatever.
Yeah. Guacamelee has that too. I forget what theirs is, but it's like the same thing. But yeah, so played a little bit of that. I finished up The Office for the most part, at least like the major parts of it. Like there's not just a pile of crap around me anymore.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the show.
No. I re-imaged this, which for those listening to the audio, I'm pointing at my Arcade 1-Up Street Fighter cabinet. That was running RetroPie. Now it's running Batocera. So that's been fun. I literally dug that out of the coat closet because I was like, you know what? It's coming out. I want to use it again.
It's time.
And it's a cool thing to have in your background.
It is.
So.
And I told you guys at the end of the show last week, but there was a price error that I took advantage of on Amazon.com on a Arcade 1-Up Marvel Pinball machine. For those that don't know what these are, they're 3/4 scale pinball machines. They're virtual, and they typically retail for $800. I got one for $150. And my brother and I just kind of like hit the buy button and we just prayed. And we were like, if it shows up, it shows up. If it doesn't, at least we tried.
Yeah.
So went to my parents last night and set that up in the basement. It's super cool. I'm like incredibly impressed with it. It has, I think it's like 9 different Marvel themed tables in it. They're all from Zen Studios, who they do all kinds of virtual pinball. They had, a Vita game, and you can play it on Android and iOS and buy different tables. But what's cool is I was looking up some of the different mods that you can do, and you can put all of their Star Wars tables on there. They have Williams tables, which there's one that like sticks out in my mind at least, which was like Attack from Mars or Mars
Attacks.
Yeah, or Mars Attacks, something like that. It's not like licensed to the movie, but it's some like Martian themed table that I used to play at a diner when I was growing up as a kid. That I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. So you can get that on there, and then they also have some third party ones. Like they have like there's a Portal table, Skyrim, Doom, Fallout.
Oh my God! There's a Skyrim is even on pinball.
On pinball. But there are all kinds of different tables that you can load onto this thing that, if you try hard enough. So
You're so inclined.
yeah. So I may take one night over the next couple of weeks to go to my parents and set all that up, but it's cool. Like it has, force feedback where, as the ball hits different parts of the table, the table actually feels like the ball is in it. Like it feels really authentic.
Then you tilt.
If your ball gets stuck, you can tilt the table and shake it, and it'll actually like move it out.
It seems like that would be way more expensive than actually just having a real pinball
No,
table.
do you know what a real pinball
tables
table
are
costs?
so expensive,
No.
man.
They're like starting
Uh,
$2,500. They go up to like 10 grand.
Jeez.
And then on
of them,
top
yeah,
of-
like
yeah.
the one that I would want is, I think I looked it up when we were talking about it last. It was like almost $13,000.
Yeah.
They're very expensive,
And they also come with a ton of maintenance. Like this is just
yeah,
it's an Android PCB that runs on this thing.
it's a whole
with
a whole hobby.
Yeah, with two
Huh.
monitors plugged into it. So like as soon as I load these
Dang.
tables up, I just have like I have this cabinet that's got, you know, however many games on it, and then I'm going to have the pinball machine, and that's going to have all these tables on it, and it's like cool. Like I have
You're set.
everything I've ever wanted. Like But if you ever find yourself in a Walmart or whatever and they have these things on sale and you have the space for it, like if you're into pinball, like I definitely recommend it. The closest, and it's the same company, but the next closest thing that I've experienced that isn't just a real pinball table is the Star Wars pinball app on Oculus, which that is like super impressive, the way that they have that whole thing set up. You just have two controllers and your two flipper buttons, and that's another one that you can kind of shake the table and you can look around it and everything like that. But I'm really impressed with it. I'm happy with it. I'm going back and forth, talking with Jess about possibly bringing it here, but it's pretty big. It's like a little bit longer than if you're looking at the video. The cabinet that's in here, and it's like it would probably take over the room a little too much. But
A real pinball machine would take you over even more. Right?
Well, the real pinball machine would be the room basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's fun. It's a fun little hobby that once it's set up, it's like cool. I just have this thing. But I'm very happy with it.
That's kind of a cool thing. I just like got this like vision of, having we've got these little stools that Riley can use to like climb up to the sink, and like she can reach the sink and wash her hands and stuff like that. And I was just like, hey, yeah, we could put that down, and then she could step up and play some pinball. It's kind of cool.
They have there's a Paw Patrol one. I've never seen it. I was reading about it on Reddit. Like somebody mentioned it in a comment. But apparently it's like small enough for kids like that. And like people mod that one
pinball
too.
machine?
Yeah. But
Maybe I'll check that out.
they're cool. Arcade One Up. They're doing the Lord's work over there. Let me tell you.
They are indeed.
Yeah.
The work of the Lord.
And those things are popular. Like they sell.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like as somebody who's written like some trending commerce pieces for IGN, like every time those things come up on sale, it's like load them up.
Well, but not only that, but like a lot of places will, Walmart especially, they'll do clearance where it's originally $600, $700, and they'll drop it to like $100, and they'll go in like a day. But like if you can score that for $100, like are you kidding me? Like,
yeah,
hop on it. It's awesome. That's what this was like $150 when I got it. The Street Fighter one.
And you can mod any of those to play anything, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely takes some work. There's when I did it, there weren't as many people. Like the community wasn't as big because like that was the first cabinet. But now it's like, oh my god, the guides and like just support documents and the Reddit
I was just
community.
thinking about that. I was seeing some stuff and I was like, none of this really vibes with me. What I would really want, and they'll never make it because the only person who loves this game is me, is
a Dragon Ball one.
No, a Raiden 2 cabinet.
Oh.
because that, like you were talking about the pinball machine at a place near your house. There was a place less than a block away from my house on the corner. There was a B&J Subs in Huntington Beach, and I would walk down to the corner store. I would get a sub, I would get a soda, and I would play. They had like Mortal Kombat 2, and then right next to it they had a Raiden 2 cabinet. And I remember, and it took me forever. Sam Claiborne actually helped me figure out what game that was because I'd completely forgotten what it was. There was like a little red jet, like a little red ship coming up from the forest, and a little blue ship coming up from the forest. And then there's like these it's basically a vertical scrolling bullet hell
where you get upgrades to your ships where you can have like spray button patterns or like a huge blue beam or like a lightning that like coils around and like just homes in and attacks everything.
It's probably on here, and I just have never played it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a classic like arcade cabinet. It's just like I don't remember people talking about that.
No,
like,
I've
it's
never.
not like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or any of that sort of
No,
stuff.
and that's just it. Like they, the ones that they pick are typically ones that are pretty, like even relevant today. I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things people remember.
Yeah. They have
But
one
I'm just
now.
like, but if I could mod it and be like, yo, now I can play like if I can basically do the same thing that I did with my Super NES Classic, and just be like, all right, now it's all the things.
Well, that's what this is. It's a Raspberry Pi with, like you can play NES, SNES, MAME, Neo Geo.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
If I could set it up like that, then I might actually jump on that. That would be a cool thing to have just like back here.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like there was a while, and it'll probably start happening again, where I'll be between meetings or like I'll be on lunch or whatever, and I'll just be like, I'll play a quick game of Tetris and just like hop on there and do it on there.
That's cool, man.
I didn't realize how good I got at it although now I probably suck at it. It's been a while. We had gone to the Barcade in Philly for, I think it was like my 27th birthday or something. It was before COVID. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'll put like $10 down, like in the token machine or whatever. I gave some to Jess, gave some to Devin, and I was like, I'm going to play some Tetris, and I put one token in, and I played for like 45 minutes, and the only reason I stopped was because they were like, yo, like, do you want to do something else? And I was like, yeah, we probably should. But I had like this like group of people around me. I was like, what? Like, I didn't realize how long I had been playing.
They're like, you've been hogging this shit.
Yeah.
Like, this man's a god.
Yeah, this
He's
guy's
ascending.
insane. It was just funny.
He's a Tetris wizard.
I bet you could get like the old Guilty Gear games on there as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was playing Marvel vs. Capcom on there.
I still never played that game.
Gonna take you for a ride.
Wait, 1 or 2?
2. Well, I mean, they're both on there, but...
No, I meant which one had Brian never played?
Oh.
I've never played. The only one I've played is 3.
Oh.
And a little bit of Infinite.
So like the one that people like the least. Okay.
What?
Yeah, the ones that they like the least, yeah.
That's the game that Jess and I fell in love to playing. Fun fact.
Marvel vs.
Which
Capcom
one?
3?
Yep.
Really?
I mean,
We used
it's not
to-
a bad game.
No.
It's like, if you ask me which one
you
I
fell
would
in
rather
love
play.
playing a tag fighter? Hell yeah, dude.
She used to play Amaterasu and Virgil and Dante, and then I would play Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Captain America.
I don't remember. I
Yeah.
mixed it up a lot. I knew that I played Hulk a lot though. Hulk and
I never played anybody
Nemesis
in that
is
game.
fun.
Wolverine.
I played that game one time when I was visiting my friend Stu in Austin, and that was it.
That game still holds
So
up.
you're a liar. You have played it.
No. Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
Or not Mortal Kombat 3.
Mortal
Marvel vs.
Com-
Capcom 3. MVC
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
And I think they had the version that had Ghost Rider in it,
Yep.
which is like the DLC version. I think I actually have that game on Steam. I just haven't played
You
it. 'cause
probably
nobody I
do.
know plays it.
Yeah.
Nobody I know plays those games.
Yeah,
The
I
only-
think
the
2
only
is the
Tag
one
Fighter
that just
was-
like stuck.
Yeah. I mean, it looks the best.
They ported
That's
that
the thing,
game on
like,
everything, too.
I mean, did they? Because
At
I still
the
can't buy it
time-
anywhere.
2?
Yeah.
Well, at the time they did. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Dreamcast, PS2, Xbox,
Yeah.
PlayStation. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nowhere I can actually play it with people online now.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a 360 port, but I don't know if...
We
don't
played
think
it
so.
on
Get it.
we played it on PS3 back then.
Was there a 360 port?
And there was a
Yeah.
PS3 port.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing those aren't backwards compatible.
Probably not.
Probably not because of
Okay.
licensing, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to look now
That's a
because
shame.
now you
Curious.
got me curious.
Curious, sir.
But you could always emulate it. I think most people when they play it do like the Dreamcast version.
Yeah, that's the one that I was running earlier. I mean, it runs really well.
Yeah. Speaking of fighting games, Texas Showdown just happened yesterday. And that Dragon Ball Fighters top 8 was wild. A couple of players coming in, and a local guy won. Guy from Dallas won. which
That's
is pretty
fun.
wild. Yeah, and apparently the Guilty Gear stuff was pretty good as well. But definitely go check that out. I think one of the Twitch channels was Tampa Never Sleeps, was where I think the Dragon Ball Top 8 was being played. So you can go back and watch that on VOD. I had a great time. I watched that live with Will and just kind of hung out. And we're very surprised because there was a lot of Master Roshi representation in that top 8.
Oh, wow.
Which was weird. Because nobody plays him. Master Roshi and Krillin were both in grand finals.
I forget Krillin's in that game because I never see him in it.
Yeah.
That's so
He's
funny.
real good. He's real good.
He is now.
Yeah, I mean.
There was a while he was garbage.
There was a while when he was not that great.
Yeah, he was Krillin in that game for a while.
He was Krillin. Yeah. Krillin's had a
George Costanza of Dragon Ball Z.
Pretty much.
Basically. And they both married an attractive blonde with shoulder-length hair.
Yeah.
They sure did.
Wild. Truly wild.
What a time to be alive.
I was just about to say that. Well, I don't really have anything else to say.
I don't have much else either.
The only pro tip I will give is if you are the owner of a Oculus / MetaQuest. This is not an ad. There's a bundle that you can build right now on Fanatical. You can get 3 games for $20, 5 for 30, or 9 for 50. Which is like a ridiculous deal. At the very least, if you're like want to get some games, Puzzle Bobble, which is like Bubble Bobble, and Swarm, which is like my favorite VR game, are in this bundle that you can build. But that's a really good deal for those games.
Cool.
Yeah.
Neato Mosquito.
Neato.
Shall we wrap?
Sure.
What?
Just Josh is going, Neato Mosquito.
I've only ever heard Neato Burrito.
That's because I say it constantly.
Oh.
I mean, it's just a really common thing.
It is. It's also just common.
Spoilers, I don't think mosquitoes are Neato at all. I want them all to be killed.
They're annoying.
They are in no way Neato.
I want them all to be murdered. The moment that I see a mosquito outside, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to see you later. I'm going back inside.
Got to get one of those zapper things.
We've got some plants that are supposed to like...
Like the Wii Zapper with Link's crossbow training?
Yes, exactly like that.
No, like one of those electric things that just murders them.
Mosquitoes are trendy and stylish, and so they cannot be seen in the same place as the Wii Zapper for Link's crossbow training.
This is why you can't find them.
Breaking news.
Breaking news?
A tweet from Shigeru Miyamoto.
Oh?
This is
Speaking of Link's crossbow training.
This is Miyamoto. After consulting with Chris San, my partner at Illumination on the Super Mario Bros. Film, we decided to move the global release to spring 2023, April 28th in Japan and April 7th in North America. My deepest apologies, but I promise it will be well worth the wait.
A delayed movie is
is better than you can't patch a movie.
I mean, they can now.
They can, but then people have to watch it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was the whole coffee cup Game of Thrones thing, and they patched that out within like a day. Yeah, it's like just the most recent example.
Yeah,
I'm so pissed off that they took that out. I'm so annoyed that they took that out. That sucks. Like, why not just leave it in? Because it's fun.
Would you rather have the coffee cup or like a good final season?
I mean, that was never the choice. They didn't give me that choice. They took it all from me.
That's true.
They took away the good final season, and then they took away the coffee cup also, so I couldn't even have fun while I was being miserable. But yeah. Man. What a Bummerooski.
Oh, yeah.
Is that another one you've not heard?
No, I've heard it.
It doesn't make it a good decision from me, but I still did it. Okay, let's get out of here.
Deep sigh.
Thank you all for joining us for episode 228 of The Platformers. You can catch us each week, Monday nights, 7 Central American. 7 p.m. Central Time. We are on twitch.tv/platformerspod. The video archives and the section breakouts go later up at youtube.com/platformerspod. And you can find us on social media at twitter.com/platformerspod. You can find us individually. You can find me at Ribnax on Twitter, RIBNAX. And if you want to check out a lot of stuff that I've been doing lately, although right now I am enjoying a well-deserved vacation, you can go over to IGN.com and check out the Elden Ring guide. I wrote a lot of beginner guides, how-tos, and explainers for the game, as well as I built the armor encyclopedia database. So if you're looking for armor and equipment and these sorts of things, legendary gear and spells and sorceries and all these sorts of things, I did all of that. I told you where you could find that. So if you see all that stuff over there, hit me up on Twitter and let me know that it was helpful to you, because that makes my day. And that is pretty much what I've been up to. And I'll be working on some new reviews for you on this show later on.
Cool. You can find me on Twitter at the Jawa Josh. I don't really go on it that much anymore, but if that's what you want, you can follow me there.
Elon Musk machine.
Yep. God. You can find me there, and if you want to see all the cool video essay stuff I'm working on, you can go to youtube.com/mediaismythic.
You can find me at Shrives93. I don't know how much I'll be tweeting this week because I am on call for work, which is always fun. But if it's a quiet week, that means I'll have lots to talk about next week, because I'll probably just be playing video games waiting for someone to call me that something's broken. Hi, Jughead. He's rubbing his face on the microphone.
Jughead's on the line. All right. Thank you so much again for joining us this time. We'll catch you next time. From everybody here at the Platformers, we hope you have a wonderful week. Stay safe out there and have fun and play some video games. Because until next time, we are out.
Bye.
Bye.